Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Water, a transparent, tasteless, and odorless chemical substance that is vital for all known forms of life even though it provides no organic nutrients. It is the main constituent of Earth's lakes, seas, oceans, and even the fluids of most organisms. Water for the environment helps to restore a more natural flow regime to rivers, creeks, and wetlands. Unfortunately, water is not evenly distributed by location or by the season of the year. Likewise, some areas of the country are more arid, wherein water is scarce and considered a precious commodity. Thus, the construction of dams and reservoirs has been significant as they provide a more reliable source of water for people. Furthermore, they have been constructed to collect, store, and manage a supply of water to sustain civilization. However, over the past few years, water has been a big problem, especially here in the Philippines. The country has faced countless water crises and has seen a decrease in amount in reservoirs. In fact, out of 101 million Filipinos, 9 million still rely on unimproved, unsafe, and unsustainable water sources. Families without a safe water source in or near their home often spend significant time and energy having to collect water themselves. Especially with the population growing as fast as it is, water is becoming scarce. Furthermore, this will affect not only agricultural sectors but also city dwellers as the repercussions will be felt even more as the years go on. According to an article written by Ronel Domingo 2018 for Inquirer.net, Manila Water Co. Incorporated warned of possible water shortage as early as 2021 before the end of President Duterte's term, as regulators still have not acted on its proposal to build a new water source. The proposed plan, a 15 billion peso water treatment plant located in Paquin, Laguna, was not approved by the government. Manila Water Chief Operating Officer Jodino Carpio said the Metropolitan Water Works and Sewerage System is not keen on approving the country's proposed Laguna Lake Water Supply System project because it is too expensive. This particular project, according to Metropolitan Water Works and Sewerage System Administrator Reynaldo Velasco, can produce an additional 250 million liters of water every day as part of the overall water security and sustainability program for the East Zone. Jodino Carpio also said that if this project were to be declined, high areas of Montalban, San Mateo, Marikina, and other parts of Metro Manila may lose water supply. Not permanently, however, but there will be outages from time to time. The main reason why the government is having trouble approving the said project is that there is already a similar project being implemented. The 12.2 billion peso Kaliwa Dam project is the outgoing reservoir being built in Tanay, Rizal. The latter is projected to provide 600 million liters of water every day, which is more than twice that of the Laguna Lake Water Supply System project, and less expensive. However, Carpio maintained that the Laguna Lake project is already a complete system, while the Kaliwa Dam project will only consist of the dam and transmission lines, thus making the Laguna Lake project better in the long run.
Water is a vital component of life, be it terrestrial or aquatic life forms. It is an important property or component that one organism must have in order to maintain the homeostasis on its body. Water is needed in the basic metabolic processes such as photosynthesis and cellular respiration. If water level continues to increase in the seas, it would surely affect the nature or the physical properties of water needed by these life forms. Aside from its effect on the physiology of these marine life forms, it may also affect the ecological balance of their habitat. May it be morphological, anatomical features of the organisms, and may eventually affect their genetic and evolutionary features as well.
This entails that managing of water resources becomes a very important task. Water management is important since it helps determine future irrigation expectations. Water, once an abundant natural resource, is becoming a more valuable commodity due to droughts and overuse. Water resource management is the activity of planning, developing, distributing, and managing the optimum use of water resources. It is a subset of water cycle management. Ideally, water resource management planning has regard to all the competing demands for water and seeks to allocate water on an equitable basis to satisfy all uses and demands. As with other resource management, this is rarely possible in practice. Water is an essential resource for all life on the planet. Of the water resources on Earth, only 3% of it is fresh, and 2/3 of the fresh water is locked up in ice caps and glaciers. Of the remaining 1%, a fifth is in remote, inaccessible areas, and much seasonal rainfall in monsoonal deluges and floods cannot easily be used. At present, only about 0.08% of all the world's fresh water is exploited by mankind in ever-increasing demand for sanitation, drinking, manufacturing, leisure, and agriculture. This boggles our mind as we try to answer the question on how important of a role does water levels play in preserving the life of organisms.
Today, it is an accepted fact worldwide that the sea level continues to increase as an effect of intense global warming. As a result, this poses serious problems, which includes abnormal weather patterns, mixing of salty seawater to our groundwater, or as we call it, freshwater reservoir, in our lands near the coast, and may affect the marine life in direct contact to this rising sea level. Of these three, I am more disturbed with the direct impact of this problem to the marine life underwater. Marine life, be it animal, plants, and planktons, are directly affected with the change of salinity level in the sea due to increased melting of freshwater ice caps, therefore affecting the homeostatic impact of seawater to the physiology of this marine life. Planktons may be reduced, thereby limiting the available food source for marine animals, and phytoplanktons and other algae may be affected, as well as causing a reduction of the oxygen they are emitting for all animals on Earth, including humans. Another effect of rising sea levels is that some marine ecosystems in the shallow seas, for example, seagrass ecosystems and coral reef ecosystems, may have now limited access to sunlight due to the increased depth brought by rising sea levels. Also, as sea level rises, the strong wave patterns it would generate will also affect the state of these ecosystems, causing them to be uprooted seagrasses and thereby displacing the marine animals dependent on seagrass beds.
We are not only the ones that are suffering due to climate change, but as well as the living organisms around us. Animals like the polar bear and penguins essentially need the coldness for their existence, and due to our continuous abuse of carbon dioxide and monoxide gas, are the first ones to face the possibilities of a sure-shot extinction. Besides these, the rise in sea level will also make an impact on the lives on beaches. The presence of more salt water on the shores will disrupt the ecosystem, resulting in the vanishing of different kinds of plants. In addition to the soil and plants, the wildlife on the beaches would also be hurt by the rapid changes in climate conditions. If these animals are facing the threat of extinction, then humans living in the coastal areas and island nations also face the threat of getting submerged in case a deluge happens. Rising sea levels could cause the water levels to increase and invade in the residential areas, thus causing a lot of problem to the locals. And unlike other natural calamities, where migration could solve problems, in the case of rising sea levels and the expectant troubles, migration to other parts of the world will be futile, because every landform in the globe is bordered by in one way or the other. Which leads us to the question, should the Philippines be worried? Is sea level really rising? This would be one of the repeatedly asked questions in the past decade. Indeed, the global sea level has been rising in the last 2 decades. The satellite record since 1993 has revealed that the sea level was above the 1993 average in 2014 and likely rise at higher rates in the coming years, posing a huge threat to the environment and the living things inhabiting it. The rapid growth in science and technology has led to the rise in carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide emissions into the atmosphere, deteriorating our environment and ecology at a significant pace.
The Philippines, being an archipelagic country with over 7,107 islands and shallow coastlines in the tropics, there's really a need to be alarmed on the continuing rising of the sea level. Yes, there are pressing national crises in the Philippines now, such as issues on the economy, food supply, and environment. But the rising sea level is a serious issue which is gradually affecting the economy, food supply, and the environment in general. And what saddens me is that our government and most of the Filipinos don't see it as a threat, since this is a global issue which the Philippines isn't the only one concerned of. I think our country is thinking that there will be other developed countries that will think for solutions and come up with help operations if ever it will directly affect us, just like the Super Typhoon Yolanda in 2013. As early as now, we should start understanding this critical issue, its cause and effect to our country, because being in the hot tropical region of the planet, we are in the front line to experience the disaster brought by the silent killer, which is rising sea level.
With all of this in mind, the major cause of the rising sea levels is nothing but global warming, a phenomenon that has started to occur very rapidly with the fast development of the industrial age. And the rise in sea levels is occurred by 2 factors linked to global warming. the melting of ice sheets as well as glaciers, and the expansion of seawater due to warming. Whether human innovations can save the Earth from an anticipated disaster remains controversial, since there are more political and social factors playing roles in this. The result of such efforts is unpredictable. We should all ensure that it is quite possible that, if we try and change, we can put an end to the problem of global warming and rising sea levels. And since it is a question of need and wants, it becomes very important that we change and start to respect and preserve our ecology and environment.
Audio Jungle.